Hi everyone! So I did my first LinkedIn Live this morning, which was brilliant, with Sonal Bal and Jennifer Ryan from LinkedIn News Europe. It was a very, very informative and just really good session. People asked some amazing questions and there was not enough time to answer all of the questions, so I wanted to actually make this video so that I can answer any questions that we missed. So Harsh asked, do I need a professional picture as a profile? Yes, absolutely. I'm not really one for photos on CVs. I think it's really personal. It doesn't really matter. But certainly for your LinkedIn page, I would recommend having a professional photo. It can be a photo that was taken by you against a white wall. Maybe you're smiling. It's entirely up to you, but just keep it professional, like, no margaritas and kind of random things in the picture. Just a nice, simple, professional photo of you. Ivan commented and said, but I don't want to get married. That's okay, Ivan. Thank you for sharing that with us. This is a great one. How ethically concerning is the use of ChatGPT and AI to embellish resumes with skills candidates don't possess? I think ChatGPT is very useful for helping you repurpose a sentence or maybe make a sentence more impactful. But I definitely would discourage you from making anything up or using too much of the ChatGPT words and verbiage on your CV, because I think for a lot of people now, it's becoming increasingly obvious when people are using ChatGPT. I'm not against using it. I use it myself, especially for task initiation, which is something that a lot of people with ADHD struggle with. I might just pop something into ChatGPT, help me talk about this, but then I will completely reword it myself. It's mostly just to have started the task. And if it's helping you reword a sentence to make it more powerful, then great. But definitely don't kind of lie or make things up. Stella De Silva, thank you. You had some absolutely great questions. Here you're telling Mohammed to use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. It stops you going off topic on your story. That is a really good point. Storytelling is so important in anything that we do, in whether it's CV, writing, or whether it's interviewing or anything like that. And I always say, make sure that you're having some type of structure to your answers. The STAR method is good for that. So situation, task, action, result. But of course, try not to sit there and be like, oh, so the situation wasn't and the task was. Just try and give your answers with that in the back of your mind. Thomas Woodhams also had some really great tips. Thank you, Thomas. He said, always research the people you want to connect with. Find a common ground, even if it's a big beard or a Lego collection. I couldn't agree more. The beauty of having LinkedIn is that it really just gives us the ability to kind of look at someone's background. Maybe we're in common groups and you could reference that. If I'm going to an interview with someone, I will say oh, hey, I actually had a look at you on LinkedIn, obviously, because ahead of the interview. People love when you've looked them up on LinkedIn. They're always really flattered. I was always really flattered when I would interview someone and they would say oh, hey, I had a look at your LinkedIn. And I saw that you were in a gospel choir or something like that. I'm oh, that's so nice that they took the time to look at my page. So I would encourage people to really, spend time understanding who you're meeting on LinkedIn. Maybe you're in common groups. Maybe you saw that they shared a post about something specific and you can say, oh, last week you shared a post about this cool thing in AI or whatever it is that's topical that could be weaved into the interview. And you could say, oh, I thought that was so interesting. And it's really helpful if you can share a perspective on something. I'm really interested in this topic. It's actually something I've been learning about myself. And if you can connect with them on that basis, that is huge. And I would always say, look at your interviewer before you go into the interview with them. Nearly everyone is on LinkedIn nowadays, especially in Europe. Questions about being neurodivergent and should you disclose? It's totally personal. Companies will say they're neuro-inclusive or they're inclusive, and it all depends on the person that you're having the interaction with, and it might not work well in your favor. So you have to do everything to protect yourself. If they make you feel in the interview psychologically safe, generally us neurospicy or whatever you want to call us folks, have a good sense of whether something is authentic or not. You're able to kind of pick that up in the interview process, or looking at the website, or looking at what they actually do when it comes to inclusion, whether it's neurodiversity or any other underrepresented group. I think people are able to spot inauthentic efforts. And if you feel comfortable to disclose, whether it's about being neurodivergent or maybe about your religious background or anything like that, then of course I would encourage that, because I think the more data that we can collect, the better. So we're getting a lot of questions about career changes. Immerse yourself in that world, speak the language, network with people, go to events within the space that you want to move into. You have to kind of accept that you will need to start maybe on the bottom or on the second or the third step of the ladder, but it will be worth it for the sake of being happier, being more fulfilled in a different career path. But, you know, if you know someone in that space, really think outside the box with this. Ask them, can I shadow you? Get a real insight into what that actually looks like so that you know, do I actually want to do this for the rest of my days or whatever? And I think it's really important to do that groundwork, put the time in to putting yourself in that world and learning about that new career path, and then really just saying it out loud, putting it out there to everyone. You say it to one person that will then be like, talking to someone else who'll say, oh, I really need someone to help me with this thing. And they'll be like, oh, I was talking to Amy the other day. She said she really wants to move into this field. Maybe you should give her a go. As long as you're talking about it, you're putting it out there, it will come to you. I know it feels like never ending with this job search. And I know it feels like your CV is going into a black hole of doom. It will get better. You just need one door to open and it will happen. And you will look back on this time and be like, wow, that was really hard. And I'm glad I just kept going. Make sure you're not spending your whole day sitting down at your laptop. Make sure you're getting out for some air, you're listening to music, you're finding ways to fill your cup, because the job search and the amount of rejection that we're all getting, I've been there. I was there last summer. I got laid off from Twitter. I applied for some jobs. I wanted to move back to London and I got so many rejection emails I couldn't even tell you without even getting an interview. And I've never experienced that before in my entire life. And I was coming from one of the big tech companies. So if that's how it was for someone coming from a big tech company, I can only imagine what it was for people coming from smaller companies. So, you know, just hold faith. It will get better, and make sure you are finding time in the day for joy, for some peace in your mind, in your heart, you know, dancing around to music, cooking, whatever it might be. Just find some time for you to give back to your soul, because job hunting is so stressful. It's so soul destroying, and you're not alone. That's the most important thing. You're not alone, and just look after yourself and it will happen for you soon.